Well, good evening, everybody. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to come out this evening. And this is just something very light. I just wanted to, first of all, let everybody know that we appreciate the businesses in Easthampton, each and every one of them, how vital they are to their community, and how proud I am to represent such a wonderful, unique community like the city of Easthampton. I thought it was a good opportunity to also talk about some new software that the city has coming in this winter. And what it's going to be, we've talked, I know many, many years, we've talked about streamlined permitting. Well, I think this is a major step in it. So instead of just going into your building department and pulling your permit, all the different offices will be connected. Planning department, fire department, board of health, building department, assessors. So many departments will be involved in that. I'm going to have Jessica talk briefly in a minute about how that will impact her department and how that will improve and make things a lot more efficient. Thank you, John. As you all know who this is Representative John Sybeck, and thank you for stopping here tonight.
I got my email from the chamber saying something going on, so I stopped in Karen and said, "Is it okay if I crash the party?" I just came to listen.
Well, John's been crashing our parties lately. He crashed our coffee hour, and we love it. John, you can crash here anytime you want. John performs as far as a member of the legislature. I could not even dream of a better state representative. Anything I need, any questions I have, he's either on the phone or in your office. It's been like that. I've only been the mayor since January, but I've been working for the city for 21 years. And how long have you been the state rep, Joe? 12. And for all 12 years, it's been like that. And I think all of you know that. So he's just never further than a phone call away, no matter if he's in Florida or not. So it's a pleasure to have him.
Thanks.
And the next, I thought it would be very interesting to have Maureen, known as Mo Bellavo, here tonight. She's the new director, as I'm sure most of you already know, of the Greater Easthampton Chamber of Commerce. She is, I don't think anybody has been that welcomed here, and it's just the excitement to have her, and I'm thrilled to have partnership up with her. So anything that we have going on, I call her, she calls me, we're in. And it's just a lot of excitement, and I think it's just the beginning of a great relationship, and I couldn't be happier. And as a matter of fact, I just told her and Pat that we have another thing coming up with Channel 40, and let's get together on this. So I think the whole point is, no matter what you do it as a team. There's no one person that gets everything done. So working as a team, first thing you want to do is set up a team and have a really, really good team. So that's what I've been extremely lucky to have a fantastic team behind me. So Jessica has probably a bit of a cold, I think is putting it lightly. So we're going to let her explain how this new permitting process is going to, I think, make things easier for everybody, but also the offices.
Sure. I'm not going to talk long because my voice may come and go. But I know I'm personally very excited to see this come into place. This is going to be a game changer for us on how we're able to do business and do it in an efficient manner in the city in terms of the permitting. From the building inspector's office, as you may know, when you pull a building permit, you have to go from office to office and collect a signature. It is such a pain in the neck because we, may or may not be there because we're out running around at meetings, and so somebody may take the chance of coming in to get a signature. And I hear a lot of grumbles when I come back from meetings from people who say, how come she's not here? I need the signature. Well, this is going to make our lives so much easier. If the file, even if the permit is hand filled out, if you're not comfortable with the computer, it will go into the system, and that will allow all of the city entities to sign off on the building permit without somebody having to walk from office to office, taking a chance on whether somebody's going to be there or not to sign off on it. So that's a huge first step in the right direction in terms of the efficiency of how business is going to be done in the city. From the planning department's perspective, we're going to be one of the departments that's going to have our permits also placed online. So if somebody's filing a special permit or a site plan approval, either with the planning board or the zoning board of appeals, variance applications as well, that can all be done electronically through the system. So I know when I do my household business at night, I'm paying bills at 11 o'clock at midnight because I'm a pretty busy person during the rest of the day. So contractors are out during the day, they're on job sites, they're coming home from night, they might want to be able to fill out these applications and submit information from home at night in the comfort of their house. We need to be a 21st century town hall office, and we need to have things available all the time. And so I think this is great that the city is investing in this, and I think it's going to make our lives a lot easier from the city perspective. Other offices that are going to be brought up line as well as Conservation is going to be also having all of their permits online. And then the sign-offs with the tax department, the tax, TPW, assessors will be able to sign off, but their permits won't be made available as of yet. But there's no reason that the city can't expand the system as time goes on. Fire and health may be phased in. Health department, as you may know, has an extremely huge amount of permits that go through their office. And so in order to put all of their permits online, it's going to be time consuming. And so that might be something that's phased in over time. So the date is winter. So early 2015 is what our IT person told me today for launch of this. And I think it's going to be a game changer.
And the real reason for the winter date is because we're in line for it. It's not because we're not ready. We're ready, they're working on it, we're in line. And it's that local aid that helps us with these type of purchases.
I don't support cutting local aid.
No, I know you do not. As a matter of fact, that's another issue that, we're going to be dealing with, and John is going to be right there fighting with us, in the...
I think right now, I don't want to interrupt you. Right now, the only person I think who's proposed and supporting cuts to local aid is the governor, the current governor. The incoming governor doesn't support it, the speaker doesn't support it, the Senate president doesn't support it. It just doesn't make sense for the community. So I think that it's a non-starter for our perspective.
I agree. And that's what we're hoping. But I was talking to John earlier today, and we're thinking we'll probably get, some firm numbers maybe at the MMA meeting in January. Thinking the governor would probably show up at that and make his announcements there. So we're just going to hope for the best. So what about you? What would you like to say?
Well, I just, just like Mayor Cadger said, I am beyond tickled and delighted to be here in Easthampton and to represent all the chamber members. I'm really thrilled to be a part of this economic development team and with the EDIC. We've got several projects that we're working on together, and I think it's like seeing this little flyer. So Monday morning with the mayor, starting in January, casual time with Mayor Cadger to bring your questions, your business questions, and she's ready to answer whatever happens.
Are you coming, John?
Please do. Please do. Here's your flyer. You're formally invited. Please join us.
And thank you for mentioning economic development company, because those are meetings that we're attending together.
Yes.
And now you want to be a member.
Yes. And also I'm very excited to, as being a part of this entire team, working with Jessica, we're also teaming up as well, hopefully in the spring of 2015, putting together a small business workshop seminar. If you're thinking about starting a small business, having some experts, local experts coming in to help us and helping you to sort that sort of thing out. And then in the fall, perhaps doing a creative manufacturing tour throughout the city. So that's what we need to talk to. So that's in the pipeline. So I'm thrilled. And the welcome couldn't have been any more wonderful.
And again, just throwing open the doors of communication. We're always accessible, and you know where to find us. Did you have a question, Mike?
Yeah, you said this thing was going to fly in winter.
Yes.
Is there a way that you're going to keep the groups afraid that hydro come along?
Well, what happens right now is the software is only in the building department. So that software is going to be no longer. So that we can keep all the permits, they'll be transferred onto the new system. And then this will be a whole new system that will be implemented. So instead of doing all your running around, it'll be online. Or you can still come in, and we're hoping to have a kiosk too.
Right, so there's
So
going to
that
be
you
a
can-
kiosk. So, I mean, if people are not comfortable with on the computer, they certainly can still come into the office, still file old-fashioned. If they're more comfortable being on computers, they can do that. There's a variety for different comfort levels, and I hope that, from my perspective, if people are filing applications in my office, they're coming in to talk to me anyway
Right.
before they file anything, just to make sure that they have everything in place before they move forward.
Same thing with a large project, like the Easthampton Savings Bank. That's not something you're just going to file online and send in your check and you're all set. That's something you're going to come in and have discussions and be in, many departments.
But if somebody's not comfortable on the computer, so they come into one of the offices, whichever one it is first, and files. Can I assume that office will then get this thing into the
Sure.
system?
Yes.
So at that point, they won't have to run around.
They still do not have to run
Once
around.
they've been to that one office, it's now
But
set
if
to
they
go
want
for
to use
rails.
pen on the paper and write it rather than type.
Like the way it is now, you come in and for a building permit, you come in, you fill out your paperwork, and then, I used to work in the building department for about 7 years, you give it to me, and I would put it into the software. So that type of thing will still be available, but the rest of it will be much more streamlined for those of you that I know are going to love it.
And as we proceed along, we certainly can be a conduit to get that information out.
Oh, absolutely.
So that folks know what's up and running and when,
Yep,
hopefully
Hopefully.
to get that word out.
yep,
There'll be a big press
yep. Well,
hoopla rollout
Yeah.
when it's finally ready to be fixed.
big red carpet will
Yeah,
go out.
yeah.
The thing is, when you go and fill out all of it, everybody wants to see a copy of the plan.
Right.
So we're going to get PDFs, put those online, so that the fire department and DPW, everybody has the same set of plans to look
Correct,
at.
yep, either you could send it, or if you give it to us in a, 11 by 17 format, we can scan it and put it into the system as well, so but my office, my department, we're asking people to please send us information electronically so that we can disperse it, not just to the planning board for their review, but right now, I have to, by law, transmit all applications to the fire department, to Conservation Commission, to the building inspector, to the health agent for comment before it even gets to the planning board level. So I'm doing it now, but I'm scanning it and photocopying it and sticking in mailboxes. This way, it's just all in a system and everybody can just go and comment. And then I can see whether they check off the box, but if they have no comment, then I know that at least they've looked at it. Where right now, I send it out, and if I don't hear anything back, I just assume they have no issues.
Most building departments now want everything in a PDF format. They don't even want the plans in the office, except the one wet stamped plan. So as long as you do that, everybody gets a copy.
And this is going to be like every office talking to each other.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Joy, did you have a question?
Yeah, the fees, are they going to be doing the fees online too when they do the application?
That's one thing I'm working on, that online, the fees is available. I've had several discussions with the CEO of it. I'll just be frank, the one concern I have is, there's a charge for anybody to do that. It's actually not a bad charge. I think it's like 2.25%, which is, fairly minimal. My problem is if we had a big project like the Easthampton Savings Bank, my fear would be that it's so much easier for a contractor to pay online and then pass that fee down to the company. So we aren't everywhere yet on that because that would be astronomical, because the fee is based on your permit cost. So sure, if you're just doing a pool for $50 or some of the basic things, but when you have a $100,000 permit, you're talking $20,000, $2,000 fee. So I'm a little concerned about that. I've been working with Melissa, our finance director, on that, and I've had several what do you call them? Not conversation calls. Thank you. Conversation calls. Conference calls with the CEO and the salesperson. I found out that the people that sell things to are a little different than the person that owns it. So, and they are, my other concern is they are, the contract that we signed, I had no problem signing it, but never did it mention that they only use PayPal. They're exclusive with them. Like here, we already use Unibank, so they're exclusive. So I had a little bit of a disgruntled conversation about none of that being in the contract. So we're working on it, but it's definitely an option. I'm hoping that maybe we could make that option available if the permit is under such an amount. Just so that, my fear is fees passed on to our contractors, our businesses, or our residents based on convenience. We're not getting any of this money. So I don't want, there's an increase in a fee, and the fees aren't coming here. So if I want, more fees, we'll increase them ourselves. So I'm not interested in making money for PayPal.
Right.
But again, when it's a $50, pool, and that's, very economical. I myself would do it. So we've been working on that. More details to follow.
You don't really ever know what the fee is until you sit down with the building inspector.
It's not there, it's like the percentage, right?
Yeah, it's a percentage of your construction costs,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
No
Stop making
comment.
trouble there, Ziggy.
Are there other communities using this system? Have you gotten great feedback from them or
That's
feedback?
a great question. The other thing I asked the CEO for all the other communities, because of the problem that I had with the PayPal exclusive, and the one thing he is going to do from now on is make sure that that is noted up front. He's going to change his contracts from now and put that in there. And I've received a list of them. They have many through other states. I'm not interested in other states. Worcester. There are a lot of them that are like being implemented, but they're not online yet, so we weren't able to check them. And I just received his list on Thursday.
I think South Hadley is going to, right?
Yeah, but South Hadley isn't online yet. So there weren't any that have been using the system yet for us to really get to. There's a lot of them, I think Agawam is another one. There's a lot of them are purchasing it, like us, but they haven't, they're not up and running.
Okay.
They like it, but they're not, they don't have the online permitting yet.
Okay.
And paying online. So that's where my question is. So I have some calls to make on the ones that are, I actually asked for that list a long time ago and took talking to the CEO to get it. So, great questions though.
One other thing I want to note, sorry, is also with enforcement, code enforcement. So the building inspector is also going to have a tablet that he can bring out in the
Right.
field that will have access to all the decisions, all of the information. So if there's a violation out in the field, he'll be able to pull up the decision. He'll be able to write out a cease and desist order on the spot, print it out, wireless printer in the car. So it'll also help with the enforcement side because he can have all the information right at hand rather than having to go back to the office and research and prefer he to do a cease and desist. So I just wanted to mention that, Victoria.
Right, I forgot about that. Thank you, Jessica. Tom?
There may be a way, we have to do some checking, there may be a way for the applicant to authorize the city to electronically debit their account for the fee, and then have Melissa do it through a system she has in place today. So that may or may not work, but all you would need is an authorization from the applicant to say, feel free to hit my bank account for the $100 fee or $50 fee.
Right.
As long as you have that authorization, Melissa may be able to generate an entry that can do
But
that.
it wouldn't be part of the online permitting. You'd have to leave the site. So I had a lot of conversations about this because my concern is right now there's a Unibank, and people can also, like in the tax collectors, it's your own self. You're the taxpayer. If you want to pay your taxes and have a credit card expense, that's fine. But I'm afraid of people doing it for you. So in Unibank, people can also pay by rerouting the check, which costs 25 cents. So that's not an option. I was upset by that. So we're working on a lot of options, but that would be great if you don't mind. Talk to Melissa about that. We've had many conversations about it, and it's again my only fear of it. It's simple. Just put it up. Everybody can go. But my fear is passing along, expenses to the consumers.
Well, you could speed it up by waiving the fee.
That's right.
Just like you're going to waive the interest on the mortgage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just for you, John.
Yeah, that was quick.
I'm just curious, is there any sort of a fee calculation feature with regards to multiple permits that would kind of give somebody who's, going into it for the first time an idea of what the outlay would be in order to process all the permits associated with it?
You would have to do, the fee is each permit, but the fee is very calculated. It tells you exactly what it is. Some of them are flat, like when I mentioned the pool, some of them are flat. The rest of them are based on the cost of the permit or the cost of the project. Fees are based on the cost of the permit. The permit is based on the construction.
So is your question that if somebody filed a special permit with the planning board, a permit with the Conservation Commission, they were filing all at the same time, that there would be one charge for them at the end? Is that what your question is?
In other words,
I
I think...
Because you can't pull a building permit till you have all those other things
Right.
in place, so.
Right, but I guess in terms of projection and also if you have more than one project going on at the same time, the way that I envision it, the way that you described it, it almost sounds like it's analogous to an account that each person would have with the city when they first have something they're bringing to it.
No, that's what PayPal is. You just, I don't know if you've ever made a donation online. It's just paid, you're done. It's
Right.
And it's totally not related to the city at all. That's the part I have no problem with. It's a safe site. I don't have any problems with that. It's just when the projects get expensive, because their first example to me is, well, what are you talking about? All your fees are $50. I said, excuse me, no, they're not. Well, and I said, we have 100, we've had fees for 100,000. Projects for permits for 100,000. They said, oh no, you're mixing it up with the cost of the price. I said, no, I'm not. And because we just recently had 4. We've had some very big projects going on. And those fees would be astronomical if the contractor, on your behalf, just pressed the button and paid online. So that's, but maybe there's something we can do as to a limit on it. So that's, so far, the first snafu we've run into. And again, it's a snafu that is a concern of mine and Melissa's, and it's really to protect the consumer. Because we don't lose anything either way. We don't pay it. It's not related to us, but, watch it out for you.
Back to the money again. I think as long as all of the other paperwork and running around is taken care of, when I have all of that together, then I'll go pay my fee. I think that would make the most sense, because then you can sit down with the building inspector or whatever.
And that's exactly the option that we hope people choose.
Because
you should anyway be coming to meet with Jessica, or, that's what we're anticipating, but I'm just a little being careful there, very cautious. Exactly. I don't think somebody should do all that online, pay for it, and you're all set. On big projects, you would want to come in and discuss them, and it should be, before and after.
Even on little projects, for residential ones, there could be questions in terms of what they're submitting. If somebody's
course.
doing it on behalf of themselves, and I think it makes sense for them to have to come in and hash out
Absolutely.
what
Right. We're just trying to streamline, we're not trying to automate everything where there's nobody to talk to. Definitely not into that. This is more offices communicating with each other because it's all in front of them versus, no information. More information instead of less.
I think if you do it online, you're going to lose money, because people rely on the application of how much the project.
I think Joe will catch up.
No, not if it's online. He's not going to go back in and look at every one of those things. He can't chance his emails now. So I think once it's in the internet and once it's in the ether, it's gone. And it's hard.
Well, don't forget the permit isn't the permit until it's approved. So he'll hop on his site and he sees that you're putting on an addition for $500. No, you think he's not going to approve it. So there you go. See, all these things have to be signed off and approved. So it would be very, it would be very obvious to him. Same way as if you're in front of him. He questions those things all the time. I've heard him many times.
And you should.
Right. Any other questions? Well, thank you very, very much.
That's it.
Great job.
That's it. Nice and easy. Thank you, Jessica.